Good evening. Welcome to Open Topics with Don Armando. And tonight, we're going to talk about Latino extremists within our Latino collective. So it looks like this has been a thing for some time now. And anybody who's an expert or are experts in this field, please drop your opinions right here. All right, I'm back. I just had to go and have a little snack break. So I want to wait until whenever I'm gonna drop the link, but I'm gonna drop it internally so anybody that could come up. So this is what I'm going to do. Right now I'm on YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. So my Twitch and my Twitter is Don Armando 809. And as for my YouTube channel, you know what it is. Don Armando Robles. So this is my thoughts about the current theme for tonight, which is Latino extremism. You have certain Latino extremists that want to actually live by the white supremacist ideology. You have certain people that think that they're going to be the Nick Fuentes of their era, or that they're going to have radical change just because they think that they will actually attain something financially. When the fact is, they're only achieving and hurting their own people and their prospects. But then they'll be the first ones to try to tell you that you're not a part of their people or a part of the Latino collective. You know why? Because whenever they try to spit history on all fronts, they actually look like they're stupid because some of them are. Case for example, I've gotten a whole bunch of flack by people that don't know their history. And even if I was to even say my real name, they would not believe me. So they still try to convince to themselves and to the whole world that I am not who I say I am. So with that said, and people that they actually know what people are going through, they decide to, hey, let's go tell a lie and let's go try to gang stalk this person because that person is not racist. So with that said, I welcome them because let's be honest, a lot of the people who actually are against me, they have no lives, they have faceless channels, and they're useless. So back to the topic. A lot of Latinos, like this guy, what's his name? Enrique Tario, Cuban American. Certain people actually think like him and are actually overzealous Trump supporters. With that said, I don't know what is the goal, what they're trying to say with Trump. But then, me personally, I don't really subscribe to any political party because I've matured enough to see that most of these parties do not have our best interest when it comes to being a better person or being a better citizen of the United States. On one hand, you have Republicans that want to beat up people because they think that they're alpha males or whatever in doing so. And then you have another part of Republicans, of Democrats, that they want to try to feminize everything for money. So with that said, I don't see how two of those parties are for my best interest when it's shown time and time again that some of these parties, well, these two parties in particular, the Democrats and the Republicans, do not actually see my best interest. And then to top it off, both of these parties have like a cult-like following to the point that they're trying to tell you, if you don't go with us, you're not going to have any benefits. When the fact is, all I'm seeing from both parties is I see no benefits whatsoever. Two-party system. So, which the other side is actually calling themselves a dictatorship, and then the other party is calling themselves a dictatorship. I don't see how anybody could actually say that, okay, yeah, we're we're actually fighting for the freedoms of the American people. So that's my thing. All right. So I'm actually just restarting one of my links. So that's why you see two avatars right here. With that said, I'm just saying that since I don't see the benefits of being of any of these parties, I don't know why certain people can actually debate in a civil manner and actually be friends. But yet we have people who are actually saying they blasted or they slammed, using buzzwords that actually makes no sense when there's actually two people actually talking. But to each its own. All right, I'm back. So I'm still waiting for certain guests. What's good, bro?
Hey man, just here. What's good?
All right, now I hear you. So
Bet,
what's
bet.
good? I'm
Not much,
chilling.
not so much. Just enjoying life, man. It's just pretty hot out here lately, in Minnesota.
I
But
hear you.
maintaining.
Now the tonight's topic is about you know the Latino extremists and everything like that.
Yeah,
I know that you have me. We have seen a lot of Latino extremism on TikTok and other websites.
yeah.
So right now we're talking about the conviction of one of the Latino Proud Boy members by the name of Enrique Tario, and
Word.
yeah, I forgot how long he got convicted, but he just got convicted for for being a part of the January 6th storming of the Capitol, even though he got arrested before
Oh,
the
like
day.
the black Cuban dude, right?
Yeah,
Right. That shit made no sense to me. I'm like, dude, what are you like? That shit was a shit show, bro. So why am I just now hearing about it? So this was recently.
yeah, it's like I guess it's been in the news for like maybe 3 or 4 days, I believe.
Oh, word.
Yeah,
Jesus Christ, you guys send me that link, bro. I have to
yeah.
look it up. What?
hmm I mean, me personally is this, right?
Yeah.
Cubans, whether they're light skinned or black,
Mhm.
tend to lean towards the Republican side because they've seen the damages of being a liberal since they lived in communist Cuba.
Yeah.
So they actually think that being a liberal is being communist. So therefore, I could see why they could lean towards the Republican side or conservative side.
Yeah.
But in another aspect, though, about Enrique Tario, he was like a lot of people before he got arrested for this. They actually labeled him a snitch because he got arrested before and was helping the federal government. So
Word?
certain people,
What?
yeah, because it was like a marijuana charge or stuff. It was something, but yeah, he actually helped the FBI arrest people who were growing marijuana illegally and such.
Yeah. What? Wait,
Yeah,
is this on the national news, or is this something you kind of have to look up?
I mean, it was on the national news, but I guess you will have to look it up. But Enrique was actually helping the feds before he actually became a cowboy. So even though they gave him the sentence and everything like that, certain people was like he might have been a snitch for that organization. Because think about it, he got arrested right before January 6th happened. Right
Yeah.
before. So that means he actually didn't participate in it. Because he actually was in jail while it was going down.
What the fuck? Yeah, I haven't heard
Yeah.
from him for like a good few years, I think.
I mean, that joint happened like in 2021, right? Now it's 2023.
I thought it was earlier than that, but okay.
Yeah, because remind you, the election was in 2020, and the
Oh yeah, you're
swearing
right.
in.
Yeah, took a couple years.
Yeah.
Wow. So moving forward, what's basically just gonna happen?
Well, I don't know because I forgot how many years he was sentenced, but he's gonna do some jail time.
Damn.
But this is my thing though.
Yeah.
As far as Latino extremism is concerned, right?
Yeah.
We've seen a lot of Latino extremism ever since. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the YouTuber by the name of, they
Bautista.
call him Chivo.
Okay, because this is one last name. This guy named last name Batista.
Yeah,
And
that's what I'm talking about.
oh yeah, he's crazy.
Yeah. So when a lot of people were talking about, okay, when certain people are going against them for making that message,
Hmm.
for some reason it gave a rise to a lot of these Latinos that have the same sentiments.
Yeah.
And sadly, like in Texas, there was a recent person, I believe they were Latino also, but
Yeah.
then they had like certain extremist sentiments, which,
Yeah.
which a lot of people actually started reading.
Yeah.
So the extremist, the Latino extremist movement is actually on the rise because ever since Chivo went up and made that rant, it gave a voice for all these people that actually felt like that, and they felt like they could never do it before.
Right.
So, what's your thoughts about that?
I mean, to well, I'm just now hearing about this, so I mean, I'm not surprised because growing up, going to school, like you can tell like most of these people were indoctrinated from their parents, and they even think that like for like Hispanic Heritage Month, they betray. I mean, I'm just using an example. You know how this shit starts and continues as generations come. They'll portray like conquistadors for Hispanic Heritage Month, or
Right.
Latin American figures who've done something, or who are celebrities or prominent figures, and you'll only portray them
Mhm.
as like white, but you wouldn't see like a variety of them looking like me and you,
Right.
or someone that looks outside of being native or white. You know.
Right. Because if you really look at it, you have certain people in. in other Latino countries where I could say that the Afro Latino population is not as strong
Yeah,
as other countries.
yeah, exactly. But they do this on purpose. Like, bro, when I was in Mexico, and that's how I knew. I don't know about them being racist, of course, but it's more based off classism. And so with classism, they had their way of picking and choosing who should have the higher positions. When I was there, I saw these a lot of people who were in the high positions to be, to look a little bit more whiter or lighter skin in Mexico. When I was at the airport and going around the city. Now, when I was in
Wow.
Oaxaca, of course, you're seeing black people who've been there for 500, 600 years plus or whatever. You know, black Mexicans like myself who look like just like me and you.
All right.
And
So since you're of mixed heritage,
yeah,
Ray Acosta,
yeah.
when your father when your father came to this country, did he come as a young man or he came? What was his story, if you know it?
Now he's actually a third generational Mexican, but so I mean I know about the family. It's just that like I wouldn't say he's just disconnected, so to say. Maybe in a certain way, because growing up here, he's considered an American like me. But
Okay,
from
so he was born in America, I guess, right? Or he was born in Mexico.
he was born here. His grandpa
Okay,
was born in Mexico. So my grandpa and my dad were born both here in America.
all right.
Yeah. Yeah. So
So
what was the question? My bad.
yeah, because the thing is, though, I thought that because you have certain people who are actually from Oaxaca, right?
Yeah.
And they actually settled like in Los Angeles and everything like that. And there
Yeah.
was like a recent documentary about that. So therefore, that's why I had to ask.
Oh, well, for the most part, my dad's people, they're from I can't say that, Guanajuato, Mexico. So that's
Guanajuato, okay,
yeah, so that's the central part. As you see in my little heritage thing that I posted on YouTube like about a week or two ago. So they're
right,
mixed also, but they mostly they are like more mestizo and native, but they have people who are like mulattoes and blacks who look like us down there as well. For some
all right,
years since the inception of it. But anyways, long story short, um, now when it comes to like representation, I mean, the more north you go, or just anywhere in particular in Mexico, they still. I don't even care if it's even the black part. They still have this Spanish caste system there.
right. I've always heard of the Spanish caste system.
Yeah,
Never
and
really understood it, but I always heard about it.
it's still prevalent up to this day, bro. Like one of my associates down in Oaxaca, and we were talking, and we are pretty much just having a good time over there. And you showing me around Oaxaca, in that part of Oaxaca. He was saying that like and his mom is of mixed heritage. Like his mom is a mulatto black down there, right?
Right,
And the dad is mestizo. But when you look at the guy, he looks very like the guy I'm talking to, my associate. He looks like a typical like stereotypical Mexican, like native with a little bit of
right,
some European, kind of look.
yeah,
And he was telling me because he's the pretty much the guy who helps the Afro Mexican community. So he's using and taking advantage of how he looks to get in the high places just for the community down there and help them get
right,
resources and whatnot because obviously they're very impoverished as you see all over social media. Like it's not made up.
yeah,
And anyways, so he had him and the community had a meeting with the local politicians in the area, and I can literally send you a pic right now. Like I'll send you it later when we get off this thing through WhatsApp,
yeah,
and you see him standing all next to the local politicians, and all local politicians are all like mestizos
right,
or damn near looking like a Spanish from Spain.
right,
And so like the dude had a meeting with the one of the ministers of Equatorial Guinea. Of course, we know that's a Spanish speaking African country in Central
right,
Africa, and they had a meeting set up where like they could do some trading, and Equatorial Guinea specializes in oil, and they were trying to set up something down there in that part of the black area in Mexico. Do you know what those politicians told that African dude from Equatorial Guinea?
What they told him?
Said, "Oh no, we're good on this. Africa's a poor country. You guys pretty much useless. We have nothing to do with you guys." I mean, I'm paraphrasing, but that was basically what they were telling him.
Yeah, I see that because if you really look at it,
Yeah,
you have certain people that you have certain countries now that will try to create a African culture out of nowhere,
yeah,
and then you have certain people that that they trying to push the pro-European standard.
yeah,
And the thing is though, which I'm seeing and everything like that, is how certain people they're very disingenuous on what they're saying and everything like that. When the fact is, they just don't like when they're being called out.
yeah. They don't like it because how are you gonna say that? Like, okay, you're trying to make this term Hispanic and Latino for all of us. That includes me, people like me and you who have mixed heritage, and
Yes,
others included who are either darker or just straight African or straight European looking or native or in between or all. You know,
right.
but how are you gonna say all that? Say okay, this is gonna be a broadened term for all of us that's gonna include us, but yet you're taking on the same methodology of a white supremacist. That shit never made sense to me.
It's like
I'm
to
like,
me, right?
that's so like
It's
contradictory.
it's like to me, right?
Yeah,
That you have certain people that it's like that they're like, hey, I'm a Catholic Latino and all this stuff. Okay, well, traditionally, I'm talking about the white supremacy. I'm not talking about European white supremacy, which
yeah,
is Nazism or fascism, or not so much fascism, just Nazism, right?
yeah,
So let's let's dive a little bit.
mm,
For the Latinos that they want to push that they're pro Catholic or stuff. Okay, yeah, that's what you do. I'm not being against it or anything. And
yeah,
even on TikTok, I was being accused of dissing the Catholic faith and all this stuff. When the fact is, I just said something which is true. That some of these guys they want to try to look down and diss on Afro descended people and Afro Latinos, right?
yeah.
But then when some of their religions is African. So therefore, with that statement, how did I diss a whole bunch of people that were saying that I was going against the grain with this statement?
I agree. I
And-
remember that post that you posted what 2 or 3 weeks ago, right?
no, it
Um,
was like maybe a week ago, I believe.
was it okay? You saw me commenting, laughing at it, and I called him
Yeah,
out too because the dude's well, I know his name. I'm not gonna say it on here out of respect. I don't really know him,
yeah,
but you know, like I'm
yeah,
like, dude, like, how are you just capping or what?
yeah. It's
Like how
like
you gonna act like human behavior can be like that? Humans are wicked, bro. It's in every group to be prejudiced and racist, but it's worse in certain groups.
yeah. And
It's like how
and then
and
the thing is though, they act like I was dissing La Hispanidad with this statement. I'm like,
exactly
and people was like, man, stop capping, bro.
right.
They just
Just because
literally
you
had to
didn't go
say
through it
that.
doesn't mean that somebody else didn't. Like, come on,
And it
you
was
know.
like, yo, well, I'm talking from his perspective. Okay, then if you actually look at the message, did I diss any Dominicans? No. Because I could see why he this and that. I'm like, you getting all emotional for what?
Yeah,
For a point that you didn't understand. And there was a lady who was a veteran. I was like, well, that's your thing. That's your thing. You didn't want to admit that you was wrong and you misread the thing. Stop
mm,
deflecting.
yeah,
And then on top of it, I was talking to a friend of mine, which I'm not going to mention because, you know, you got
yeah,
certain people who want to try to gang stalk people nowadays, right?
yeah. I'm
So,
already know.
so the thing is though, is is that okay? Bet when like I'll give you a personal history of my YouTube. I went up and I was just showing love to one of a content creator's page because I know that me and his family are from the same town, right?
Yeah.
All of a sudden, I was called a guy by the name Corriente that people believe that he actually faked being Latino or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was being called that and everything right there. And then when I told my whole story, I was still being called a fake and everything. So therefore, what the guy told me is that they'll even if you tell them the truth, they'll actually try to dismiss it because
Yeah.
they know that you're in the right.
Yeah, exactly.
And they
You
don't want
don't.
to admit that they're wrong because they have an agenda. So I went up and I did some research, and I'm seeing that a lot of these people have their agenda. And when I said that I'm Afro Latino, they want to try to say that that don't exist. Okay, so if it doesn't exist, right?
Yeah.
Why is it that I say I'm Afro Dominican? They'll be like, oh yeah, this is a term, whatever. But yet you have Afro Cubans, Afro Colombians, Afro Mexicans, and you have maybe Afro Peruvians, right?
Mm.
So what? So when I started looking at the whole terminology and looking at people who identify as Hispanistas, we sometimes people are gonna laugh at them because think about it. I haven't been to Spain,
Yeah.
but I know from a content creator by the name of J Rod. Me and him, we actually talk often. He's actually a cool dude. He was
Mm.
talking about his experience in Spain,
Mm.
and it was not a good one.
What?
Yeah.
Tell me
So,
more.
so while he was in Spain working as an au pair for a Spanish family, there was a lady that I guess that she was going through, something, maybe a mental breakdown or something was happening. But yeah, he was taking the brunt of it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So he had to just get out there because he was saying that Spain is actually a racist country
Yeah.
and everything.
Yeah.
So when you got certain people that try to diss Spain, or not Spain, but say something bad about Spain, these Hispanistas, they want to get so mad and everything like that. Like Spain was the best thing ever. If it was the best thing ever, right? Why did they get destroyed by? Why did the empire get destroyed by America in 1898? Remind you, I'm not
Yeah.
going to go and say the years of when Spain lost Latin America, but I can
Yeah.
tell you that in 1865 they tried to reconquer Dominican Republic, and Dominicans was not having it.
Yeah.
Then I know, like maybe in the early 1800s, that's when people in South America actually rose up and fought against the Spaniards, right?
Yeah.
So my thing is that how if Spain was so great as an empire, we all I'm saying the whole world will be speaking Spanish.
Basically.
So and then you have certain people who are so offended that we diss Columbus. Okay, it's because of this man. This is why we here.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
Which is why I'm here too.
Hmm.
In the new world. Yeah. You got some good points, man.
So my thing is that you want to say he was good and everything like that. So if you have native blood, that means that the Spanish soldiers went up and violated your ancestors, right?
Hmm.
So what good is it that you saying that they're so good and everything like that? You know that certain people are all under the Spanish Empire, but yet your ancestors ended up being violated in the long run.
Mm. You don't want to hear that part. Bro, when you
Or they
say
don't want to hear that there was the Roman Catholic Church that funded it.
mm, You know, I mean, most of this is true, but and it's crazy. Like, there's this one Dominican guy, his channel. I'll send the link later on when we're done with this. The guy claims he took a DNA test. Tell me why this dude was damn near 60% African, West African, right?
Hmm.
The rest was obviously Spanish and yeah, it was obviously just Spanish and European. And he had 3%. I'm sorry, it makes me laugh. He had 3% Taino ancestry. Tell me why this Negro was just focusing only on his Taino. I'm gonna send you the link, bro. Me and my homies were laughing like, what? That makes no sense. Like, like it made zero sense. I'm like, obviously he's a little. Well, you could tell he's mixed looking, lighter skin and stuff,
Yeah.
narrow nose, but you could tell obviously when you look at him that he's mixed with African blood, and that's pretty much he's almost half European.
Yeah, I
But
mean, but the concept of Spain, if you really look at it, right? No,
yeah,
I'm just saying the concept of Spain.
yeah,
All right, everybody want to act like okay that all these Spaniards,
yeah,
I'm saying the white Spaniards, that is like we came from Europe and everything like that, and we just made our own race. No, you didn't.
yeah,
Let's go even further. I don't. I guess that whole area, which is now considered Spain and Portugal, was maybe called Iberia one or the Iberian Peninsula one
at a
time,
once,
right?
yeah,
So when the Romans went up and conquered it, right, it was called Hispana. That's where we get España from, right?
yes, yeah,
And this is where we get the cognitive word Hispanic.
yeah,
Or mind you, nobody was called a Hispanic until they actually entered the United States.
yeah. That was a relatively a new word some years ago, coined by
Well,
Mexican ladies.
I mean, it goes to Hispanic, Latino, right? So
Yeah,
therefore, that's what they actually describe us. When the fact is that a lot of the countries which are Central and South America, and then the Spanish Caribbean,
yeah,
we're actually called Latin America. When the fact is, we don't speak Latin.
yeah, exactly.
So, with that said, I mean, I mean, even though that Spanish is a variant of the Latin language,
Yeah,
so is Portuguese and French. But with Italian and Romanian, which sounds similar, but which is similar because of the Romance branch of the languages, it's like
yes,
why people are just going to be in the title when they just saying like, hey, we could go around and call each other white now, and then after that, we're gonna push our corny music right there. And you know what's funny is that some of these guys they talk about their love and everything like that, but I haven't heard anything of a self of how should I say of how to have economic stability and how to actually talk about governments.
I was just thinking. Like, wait. Repeat that now. Repeat that last statement because I want to say something.
I I haven't seen not one of these guys talk about how to have a stable economic or governmental structure. Not one of them. All they talking about is how the African Americans oppress them and all this other stuff. And they act like that the African Americans are the super racist. When the
Yeah.
fact is, don't get me wrong, you have certain people who are super racist, but
Yep.
most
Of course.
within the African American community. But it's not like to the point that they're gonna go around and try to prevent a person from stopping them from having an education or anything like that.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, I'm saying that some African Americans, they do have financial power. I'm not saying that, but then
Yeah.
who has the power? Who has the power in the United States to try to actually tell us to try to get us in line and stuff? I mean, economically, but is actually dwindling. Is actually the Caucasian people, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So, with that said, and people who are thinking that they want to look up and everything, how are you going to look up when the fact is you have your own people messing up, but yet you don't want to highlight that? Nor you could go around and praise, yeah, I got my people and this is whatever. But yet, when you have that same type of cronyism, most Latinos will actually go against you because they actually know what it is.
They don't want to admit it.
Yep. Like for example, you have certain people's like, oh, why you hanging with this guy? These guys are gonna corrupt you. When the fact is that guy could be smart and then could take you to places.
Yeah, it's just like based off his appearance,
Yep.
which is so fucked up. I've seen it a lot. Like you would think by now that like if they're okay now this is where how I know they're fucked up and this is why they don't like certain black people. And I just started thinking thought about it once you brought this shit up. Like, and I thought about this too as well a while back. But you would think that if they want to be well represented within media, shouldn't you be attacking Telemundo,
I
who
mean, if
brainwash
you
people
actually,
like you?
I mean, if you actually look at it, it's Telemundo and Univision, right?
Yeah,
So I remember this was like around 2009 and 2000. It was like 2008, 2009. It was a British Jamaican bro, and I call him a bro because me and him was cool. And this is when I was living in Jersey City. His mother was a British Jamaican that actually owned a store whatsoever, right?
yeah,
And me and him and a guy who said that he was a descendant because of his grandfather of Maria Montez, right?
yeah.
So me and him and this guy, I could tell you, it was just three of us. We were talking. Now, this is before DNA tests got popular. And this guy
Yeah.
was actually very educated. So we were just talking, and he was like about blacks, whites, Dominicans, whatsoever, right?
Mm-hmm.
He went up and said this, man, look at you. I mean, you're hairy, right?
Mm.
And he was like, most people who are like from West Africa and everything like that don't have
Yeah.
hair on their chest because they don't really grow body hair.
That's a lie. I have so many cousins who are pure
I, I,
blooded.
I know, but this is what he was saying.
Yeah.
And if you actually think about it,
Yeah.
I'm not saying all, but if you actually see like how Caucasians, how
Yeah.
they have body hair compared to West Africans, I'm not saying all. I'm just saying
I know
certain
what you mean.
peoples.
In general, yeah, you got a point. I can see that.
Yeah. So you could tell that you're mixed. And
Yep.
he was like, yo, you could tell you're mixed. So therefore he was telling me like there was a guy who's Dominican, right?
Yeah.
And he was the darkest of his family, right?
Yeah.
So he went up and did the DNA test, and it turned out that he was 70% European
Wow.
and 30% African blood.
Yeah.
So therefore, what I meant to say is that you cannot go around and based off a person's appearance or how European or whatsoever it is.
Exactly.
It could be the lightest person that could have all the European features, and they could have more black than you and I.
Yep. That's what happened to me on my DNA test. Like, you know, looks are very deceiving, and that's what like people don't understand. Like, you can still be mixed and still be very, very dark, and even nappy hair. I've seen it all. Like how you just
Yeah,
said
yeah.
it.
And it's like me and my wife. We like whenever me and her walk down the street,
Yeah.
people think of me as the typical African American,
Yeah.
and they think of my wife as a Puerto Rican lady.
Mm.
When people don't know that me and her are both Dominican.
Yeah. That's crazy. Now, people really be looking for looks. But if I saw you, I would have thought you're like some type of like Caribbean, like Dominican. To me, at least,
Right. But
because I've
to us,
seen so many of them.
but to these gaslighters, I even had a gaslighter that tried to tell me Dom ADOS. I'm like,
What the fuck?
I'm not for real though, because I said I was raised down south, which I was, right? So how the
Yeah,
heck I'm going to be ADOS when I'm the first of my generation?
yeah,
And I'm like, think about it. I'm the first of my generation, right?
yeah,
So that means if reparations were to even happen,
yeah.
I will not get it because I'm the first of my kind in this country. So when people could go and have the history and stuff, I read the history, I respect it and everything. But guess what? A
Mm.
different type of slavery happened in the Caribbean, which nobody really talks about. So therefore, all slavery was not the same. And and that's all I gotta say. All right.
Bro, you just dropped the mic on that shit. But what everything you're
Yeah.
saying is true. But like going back to like how we should be portrayed in media, bro. These people are not should not be on. Okay, I might understand the TikTok little thing because people need to be set right of what are Hispanics and what isn't. Right? I gotta understand that part. But if you're gonna keep babbling about the same shit, that gets annoying as fuck. Like, bro, like at that point, start to work toward, like you said, work towards your government. Talk to them about
All right.
representation.
All right.
You know what I'm
All right.
saying?
I have a theory about Telemundo, which a lot of people don't understand.
Okay.
And this is just a theory. Now, Telemundo, Univision, right?
Yeah.
Before Telemundo was owned by NBC, right?
Yeah.
Telemundo already had like maybe American influences. So therefore, therefore certain people don't know that all the stuff that we see, which is of a whitewash or a mestizo or anything like that, was by design.
Yeah. Exactly. I'm with
And
you.
if you actually look at old novellas, they always try to put Afro descendant Latina as a servant,
Yeah.
not as a leading person.
Yeah.
The only novella that I've seen that
Yeah.
a black person is actually the leading of the head of a novella or something like that was a Colombian novella that I saw with my mom's.
Yeah.
And then there was Jica da Silva that came from Brazil.
Mm.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So
Interesting.
with that adage, and then you got certain Colombian novellas now that actually have the main protagonist as a Afro Latino or something like that.
Mm.
And they're talking about the slave times or whatsoever. But what they just don't understand is that there's a vibrant history that a lot of Americans are not even taught about. And when certain people they want to try to badmouth the Dominican Republic, or certain people that do know, but then they just try to hide the history.
Yeah.
The first man that actually started the slave revolt in the Hispaniola was Sebastian Lemba.
Mm.
Yeah. And that guy is honored as a Dominican national hero to this day. So it's a lot of people that don't know the history.
Yeah.
All right.
They overlook it. No,
Yeah.
completely overlook it. You know. But I mean, it doesn't leave any excuses. Like there should be some. You would think there's some complaints about this shit because, bro, that was a huge part of my brainwashing when I was growing up, and I had to really do more research and digging. That like, okay, this is actually a very diverse place. What they in the movies do this, even the U.S. media does it too here. but we control the narrative. But they do that on purpose, to fit their agenda.
Yeah, I know.
And I see it here, even in Minnesota. Like, let me give you an example. What is that? Because today, so it's still August. Like, I think late May. No. Actually, a couple months ago in June, around June, I have a friend from Liberia. She happens to be a girl and whatnot, and I took her out on a little date. She came here recently as a foreign exchange student, right?
Right.
And and she is as black as ever, like purebred African.
All right.
Nothing about it. There's this restaurant that me and my dad love to go to. It's this Colombian restaurant called Los Andes in Minnesota,
Right.
Minneapolis. It's a predominant Hispanic town. It's called Lake Street. Anyways, long story short, we go in there. Let me just give you some background. Whenever me and my dad go there, they just assume we're Hispanics or Latinos, of course, and they start speaking Spanish to us. Blah blah blah. We never have any issues. The
Right.
moment I bring, and we've been going there for years. The moment I bring that girl there, we sit down. I thought everything was gonna go smooth. These people were so fucking rude to us because I was sitting with her.
Wow.
Yeah, I kid you not. Matter of fact, remind me. I'm gonna send you a picture of her from that day, and she didn't know what was going on because it was the first time in America, and so I kind of I spoke a little bit of Spanish towards the person about the food because the food they brought our both of our plates cold. Can you imagine?
Well, you know what?
Yeah.
You know what you could have done, right?
What?
Bad review. So it's like okay. I've been to Colombian restaurants
Wait, hold on,
and
wait. I'm not done. Wait, let me finish. Let me finish. I'm like 1 minute away from finishing. I'll let you continue. Give me a
I
second.
got you.
All right. And so I'm complaining that I'm speaking Spanish to them about my food and in English as well. And she looks at me like I'm crazy. And then guess what? I'm ready for my tab to order, right? I mean, I'm not the order, but the pay. The lady takes my card. She comes back with a whole different attitude. You know what?
Wow.
You get what I'm saying, right?
How did she come with the whole different attitude?
I'm
Because she
my
saw your last name?
She saw my last name, Bacosta, and her whole attitude just changed.
Yeah, trust me. I've gotten to similar things. You have certain people who are like that all over Latin America.
Yeah.
I even seen an old Spanish man look at me mean because I was out with my wife, my mother-in-law, and her husband.
Wow.
But it's a bad look though. It doesn't mean you can have a bad look. But then when they hear me speak Spanish, which is badly or whatever,
Yeah.
everybody wants to become the Spanish expert. But then certain people they would help, and then certain people don't. They're like, "Oh, you're this, you're that. You have certain tonage like an African American. Like if you really look at it, there's more African Americans that don't sound African Americans than African Americans.
Exactly.
Case for example, you have a lot of British actors that could imitate the African American dialect or accent, and you will not even know that they were from Britain. Case for example, Delroy Lindo, where he from? Even though he has Jamaican parents, he was born in the UK. Um, Idris Elba, I forgot what the other chick's name. Morovo or something like that. Cynthia Rovo or something like that. It was a chick that was on a TV series. Um, I guess it was talking about finding people and everything like that. And it was
Yeah.
with Anthony LaPaglia. Now that chick was actually was born in Britain, could speak British and everything like that. But then if you actually look on American movies or whatever, she sounds like she's pure American. But nobody will be the wiser on that person is from the UK.
Mm.
So you have some UK people who could actually imitate. This never really happened before. That
Mm.
could imitate the American accent when they're acting, but nobody will be none the wiser when they actually speak.
Like they make themselves look so stupid because at the end of the day, it's a European language first of all.
Right.
So I don't know what is such a big deal with it. I mean, if you're trying at least, that should show some type of appreciation.
Right. Like
You
for
know?
example, I went to I went to a Chinese restaurant one day, right?
Yeah.
And it was like maybe around '05 or something like that, right?
Yeah.
So I went up and since I knew how to eat chopsticks, I told the guy I do not want forks or anything like that.
Yeah.
I just want to eat with the chopsticks.
Yeah.
I ate the whole food with the chopsticks. I was actually challenging myself.
Wow.
As soon as I finished the meal, I never seen this ever in my life, bro.
Mm.
You had a whole bunch of people who are of, I guess, Chinese descent or Asian descent, if I might just say. They actually went up and they clapped just for me eating, just for eating their whole meal with the chopstick.
What the fuck? Maybe they appreciated that. What do you think?
I mean, whatever it was like a sign of respect. You know what I'm saying? I never
Wow.
had like it was like maybe 10 people just looking at me eating with chopsticks. And
Yeah.
as soon as they finished, it was like a big applause.
Yeah.
I felt like I felt like I did something good. I was actually challenging myself.
Yeah. Because no one really does it. Americans are so fucking privileged. You know.
Yeah,
Yeah. You know. But no, I mean, shit. Those kind gestures go a long way. I don't care what anyone says.
exactly.
No, that's a good analogy you had there, honestly. But yeah, motherfuckers out here are so like can be so ignorant. Within Latin America, like I'm like, are you fucking serious right now? Like,
Exactly. It's
you
to the
know.
point that it's like, hey, I like this and like that. And then you had one racist person, you might have heard that. You might have heard her name mentioned on one of my streams.
Mm-hmm.
Blood Moon, the Bacalao woman.
Are you talking about the moon goddess girl?
No, no, no. Well, she just called herself Blood Moon, and
Oh,
she's one of my haters.
yeah. I think I know you're
Yeah,
talking about.
yeah. So we make fun of her all the time because she always saying that, oh, that's not my real name and all this stuff. Saying the whole crap for a year without no proof.
Wow.
So a guy told me when you see people who are talking against your truth, that's just a tactic of what certain people actually do who are not of the Abrahamic faith. I would just put it like that.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, it makes so much sense.
Yeah. People got audacity, man. But this is the same mindset that's been going on for years. You
No,
know.
not years. Try centuries.
There we go. Yeah. That's a better term.
Because years would be like, okay, maybe 80, 60, or 50 years, right?
Yeah.
But then when you actually talking about centuries of ignorance,
Yeah.
yeah. So we
Yeah.
have to call it out for what it is.
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong for doing it.
Yep.
I mean, I like I don't for me it's like I don't see why people have to use the term Afro Mexican, Afro this, Afro that. Like if you're from that country, just say it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I understand maybe everyone sees it differently, but for me personally, it's like why do we have to keep proving ourselves as like people who have predominant African ancestry, whether it shows or within blood quantum, you know?
Yeah, because it's like this. I'm not, before everybody was talking about blood quantum and everything of that nature. A lot of people, you know, they don't know who they were or anything like that because, as you know, you have certain people who are actually, how should I say, ignorant to who they are because of family disputes and everything like that, name changes. For example, you know, you have like a certain branch of a rich family, right? And they have maybe like 26 branches, but you will not know because they changed their names over the years of the lands and such, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. So you just don't you just don't know half the time.
yeah, yeah. That's true. That's true. But I had to go back to this, but yeah, that dude really posted that on YouTube on his YouTube page. Like I can't wait to show you like his blood quantum for being Taino was 3%. And his whole thing said like up to 60% African DNA. I'm like, what the hell? And he's talking about how like Dominicans are mixed and stuff. Well, I'm like, okay, so you're pushing this narrative, right? Okay, I understand that. But at least if you're gonna talk about ancestry, at least cover the whole thing, you know? Don't leave one part out for another part that you don't apparently like. Like that's such bullshit. Like what?
Trust me.
And then the other thing too, what I was gonna say too, if you'll see us like these guys who like are on the Hispanic shit or whatever thread or movement that's going on right now on TikTok or whatever on social media.
Right.
I'm a firm believer in reading things for how it is, and like in a very deep way. They'll be
Hmm.
put in like they'll put in Taino, Spanish, and then they'll leave the African for the last. So what does that tell you?
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying though?
Yep.
And I
I
see that
exactly
all
know
the
what you're
time.
saying.
Like you put the African last. I wonder why, huh?
Yep.
That's how much they
We know why,
oh, we know why. We know why. So that's
but
something I've been.
they don't think that we know why.
Yeah, exactly. There's a deep hatred, and a lot of these people haven't even been to places in Africa where it's really nice. Better places in a lot of parts of Africa better than Latin America. I'm gonna keep it a buck.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I'm not shit on Latin America. I'm just saying, I'm trying to make a point. You know, but it's just sad how like you can hate part of yourself so much to the point where you don't even see the bigger picture. Like, no, we got
Yep.
Africans who are doing real work on the continent.
I mean, if you actually look at it, remember that post that you sent me of this guy went up and was like, "Oh yeah, we had our culture," and then they went up and they tried to say that, "Oh, that African culture didn't do anything," and then they just try to dismiss it. I was like, "Hold up, you're gonna
Which,
tell me
mm-hmm.
that you went up and try to exclude Zanzibar, Timbuktu, and how should I say other civilizations that actually and Songhai,
Yeah,
and you want to try to say that these people didn't do anything, but yet you would
yeah,
say yes, are Europeans?
They
I'm
weren't,
like,
but they weren't smelting the iron, which is BS. Africans were the first people to smell iron. So that was. I remember that post that I sent on Telegram.
yeah,
I gotta go back to that, by the way. Yeah, that was some BS. Matter of fact, I'm about to go back to it right now. I wonder who it was because now I'm interested.
yep.
That was some BS. I'm like, bro, like obviously, if you're smart enough, you'd study, but obviously, you hate. You have a deep passion of hating African people that you
That
failed.
that you that you will try to that you will actually try to downgrade a person when the fact is you don't even know their history.
There we go.
Like for example, they're like, hey, I'm a conqueror, and your ancestors had leaves around their private parts.
Oh, I remember when that dude
Yeah,
said
yeah,
that
I know,
shit.
yeah, I know. But guess what?
Hmm.
Well, a lot of people don't know that you cannot get that same person cannot get a girl, and then he got allegedly he got exposed by a transgender for sending pictures of his private parts.
I'm fucking weak. Damn. Yeah, I'm fucking done. A transgender, everything. Yeah, he called this shit out. And that's the
Yo,
craziest part. You know.
it's like the thirst is so real, right?
Yeah.
That the guy didn't even check to see if this female was a female, and the transgender did not want that person, but yet went up and allegedly exposed that person on of all sites, Twitter. Wow, put the messages out and everything. Wow, you gotta admit, certain people don't like ugly. All right, yeah, I'm here.
Yeah. No, you said something about him being exposed.
Yeah, so therefore, since I got word that certain people who actually have his rhetoric and everything, it's like to the point that there's one idiot
Hmm.
that went up and tried to be on my stream, but I stayed kicking him out.
Yeah.
He goes by the name of Timasuna,
Who's that?
a lame. So Timasuna, from what I've talked to people and everything like that, my interaction is that he's a stupid bigot. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That he does not like African Americans, Afro descendant people, or people who actually say that they're Afro Latino. He
Hmm.
does not like us at all. And he always tried to troll people and try to get their pages shut down.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. So what happened is that this guy he has like an acute hatred for me and Zacharias.
Hmm.
That this guy went up and tried to tell me, oh, he's like, oh, so you're now mixed. I'm like, first of all, I'm been mixed. So when I
Yeah.
was talking to a guy of a mixed race channel or whatever,
Yeah.
and Tim Azuna was trying to troll, I was like, hold up. And it dawned on me. And I was watching something on TikTok.
Mm.
You have certain people who have the racist sentiments within not only the the greater culture. But I saw a statement meaning that now the racists are actually using African Americans, Latinos, even Asians to do their dirty work as far as white supremacy.
Get the fuck out. What?
Yes.
Doesn't surprise me.
And if you actually look at what's going on with everybody going so hard to diss with African Americans and Afro Caribbeans in general. And then you see everybody else trying to join on the bandwagon.
Yeah.
It's actually set by design because these guys are just the guys to try to promote white supremacists. So therefore, to promote white supremacy or have white supremacist values. So therefore, since you know that some people are actually their influence is dwindling, they just want to keep it alive with people that they'll actually pay just to be in these groups.
I can see your point, bro. I didn't get to know this for fact, and I was told once this before. My dad, because I told you before on this live stream, or as you know, my dad's been living with my like my stepmom from Colombia have been together for like 20 plus years. So my dad's actually been living there for like a very long time in Cali, Colombia.
Right.
He's got a place there. But long story short, he was always talking about how like some of the dark skinned African looking, way darker than us, they look completely African, have this self hatred too, where they don't even want they try to disconnect themselves with being African.
Yeah.
And I saw this is one girl. I'm not gonna say her name out of respect. I'll show you after probably, but on TikTok, and like she's talking about like being mixed is okay, being Hispanic is okay, um, you know, and whatnot. I'm Puerto Rican. She claims she's Puerto Rican Dominican. I asked her about the African side because there was something else that she was mixed with, like this place in Africa that speaks Spanish. And
Oh,
she listen, wait, listen. She said, "Oh yeah, I don't really claim that because it's too far down my line." I'm like, "How far?" She said, "My grandpa is from there," and I'm like, "That's not." In my head, I didn't even say anything. I don't want to offend her. In my head, I'm like, "That's not far from your line."
but
But
then,
here,
but then,
wait, wait,
but
wait.
then, but all
I'm
right.
done. Listen to this part. This is why I laughed. And then recently, she was talking about her Venezuelan background, right? As well as her third ethnicity, besides being Dominican and Puerto Rican, right?
Right.
And then I asked her, I said, "Oh, you're Venezuelan too?" And she says, "Yeah." And I said, "How?" I said, "Which parent is or grandparent is a Venezuelan?" She said, "My grandma." I'm like, I caught you. Now I see what this means. Now I get it. Did you get what I was trying to say?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we even have Latinos of who pop out as looking more African like herself because she looks completely African and she's mixed, but she looks more you know closer to how they would on the continent, right? Hair,
Right.
everything looks. So
Right.
we have people who look just like that and hate Africa,
I believe it,
and that's
and it's
sad.
and it's to the point that I'm just over it, and it's like if a person cannot love themselves,
Yeah.
I mean, what is there is it? Because at the end of the day, I've gotten flacked ever since high school just for saying I'm a Dominican, and
What?
yeah,
How?
I
But
even
this
have my own people. I even have my own people turn on me. I could have
what?
said I could have go around and say, nah, I'm not going to do that. But guess what?
Yeah.
It's me, and I'm learning more of my culture and everything like that, which I learned by myself. I'm like, I'm
Yeah.
more Dominican than anything. You ain't gonna tell me what the heck I am or not. At the end of
That's
the day, my first, middle, and my last name is Spanish.
yeah.
Like what you want? You want a DNA test?
Yeah.
You want to know my accounts? You want to know where I live? You want to know my whole family line? You want to know how should I say how I work in life and everything like that? At the end
Yeah.
of the day, you ain't gonna know none of that because at the end of the day, I'm a representative of myself and my family. And if people do not want to respect that, oh well.
Wow. That's crazy because there's many. I've been in New York, like it wasn't very long, but when I was younger, like even for a short period, I've seen Dominicans who look just like you. I wonder if they get harassed too for that shit.
I mean, it depends because they harass me because of the way that I speak Spanish. But if it was a
Yeah.
person that spoke Spanish and everything like that, to the best of the ability, they won't get harassed that much. You might have a bad stares and stuff, but they won't get harassed that much because the Spanish is right there. But me, I get a double since I speak Spanish horribly. They're like, oh yeah, he's trying to be down until they actually look at my name.
That's sad.
No, it's ignorance. So therefore, you know what? You just have to
Accustomed to it.
you have to be accustomed to it.
That's trash as fuck, bro.
Yo,
We have
uh,
ignorant. We have ignorant Mexicans like this too.
What's up, man?
yo, what up? How you doing?
All right, I'm just chilling. I'm indoors in the basement. I'm gonna put it on mic mute later on in a few minutes, a few seconds.
All right, yeah,
Yo, that's crazy though. Like the fact that you went through that, because I'm like, the moment we met, man, I'm like, oh yeah, he looks very Dominican. I've seen so many of them look different ways. They was even trying to give this one dude hate for looking more Haitian than Dominican, and he said his parents are fully Dominican, but he has to look a certain way. I'm like, you guys are insane.
yo, dad. I'm like, I mean, you won't understand though. The more times that people have tried to call me a Haitian, I'm like,
Wow.
I'm like, you could put me in where a whole bunch of Haitians right there, and they'll tell me that I ain't Haitian. I'm like, y'all stupid.
Yeah, that's just ignorant.
I want to say something. Well,
All right,
okay, so it's weird because um, there are people like Don Armando gets questioned. He's Dominican. I was taught where I was at Chicano guy. I was telling him a Chicano guy that Dominican could look like him too. If you had one Luz Guerra, if you had to sing the one Luz Guerra.
yeah, I think there's music on the background, bro.
Oh, hold on. I'm in a business. Let me go outside. I'm in a business.
Yeah,
Sorry. Okay, you know where I'm at, so you don't have to mention where I'm at.
yeah, got you.
Yeah, yeah. I don't go outside. I'm in the patio. So the truth of it is that to tell the Chicano guy, yes, the couple was yesterday or the day before, they 2 days ago, the Dominicans can look like him because you have one Luz Guerra who's a if you saw one Luz Guerra right now, people if you came to
Right,
Texas right now, he would think he's Mexicano, but he's Dominican. Dominicans
right,
come all colors. He said Dominicans look like me, which is true. There are Dominicans that look like me, but it's sad that up north people question your Hispanic heritage because you don't speak Spanish correctly. You do speak Spanish, but people, you learn English first. But here in Texas, people would take you as Dominican. It's weird how people are very ignorant and they think the Dominicans all look black or look close to black when there's Dominicans who look statistically mestizo. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of people are so ignorant today. I it's like people don't go travel. People don't. Like Cardi B was saying, the American school system really do mess up people up. I'm serious. I'm glad Cardi B said it on one of her lives that American school system do mess people up. And
right.
yeah,
Yeah, that's a fact.
Yeah,
We're getting sick of it though.
I mean, it's to the point that they're trying to say that American system is good. But I'm like, how? You know what I'm saying? That's one thing I'm just trying to say.
who's
Yeah.
about this? They're about to close in a couple minutes. But I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna come. I'm gonna come up. Hold on, it's a couple taking pictures. Let me away. I'm watching my stuff. I'm in the business. Yeah, they got music playing. God, dog it. Thank you. Okay, they do got music playing. Okay, let me get away from the music. Okay. Anyway, so you hear the music playing? Okay, good. Because I'm on the patio
Right.
playing music. There's a couple here. Okay. So the truth of the matter is that yeah, America. Now you come to Texas, you definitely gonna have a bad school system. Don't come to Texas, the American school system. all this mixed ancestry and heritage I learned outside from the library. You know what I'm saying? And reaching out to people 30, oh, dang it, 30 years ago, back in 93, around 13, 14 years old. So I think I did that because I don't know about New York. Yeah, New York, I heard, has a better school system than Texas, and so does Chicago because it's more educated up north. But down south, the Taclone, mostly wealthy white families, minimum racist or something, they want us to have that education. They want us to learn what they want to learn. So
Right,
that's the reason why. And if I'm not gonna try to use slurs or anything, but when I call people having a cotton picking or sharpening mindset, that's what I'm
right,
talking about. That's what I'm talking about here in Texas. Because you see it in both Latin and African American community. I'm sorry. I'm not saying all African American people or all Latinos, but it's a cotton and sharp mindset because the slave owner that ran the cotton and sharp picking plantation by program wants to make sure people of color are ignorant and
all
amongst each
right.
other. So that's the reason why. But I can speak for Texas. I don't know about New York.
I mean, New York is like you have certain people that the education system is all right, but then you have certain people who are actually being lied to because certain people don't decide not to go to school, and then if you really look at it, you have certain people with doctrinal differences. You know what I'm trying to say? Meaning that if you have older ideologies, which actually exists within the African American collective. You have the Hebrew net, you have the Hebrew Israelites, you have the people who call themselves what do they call themselves? The Moors. Then you got the Nation of Islam. Then you have the Nation of Gods and Herbs.
Yeah.
Then you have the Nubians. You have all these
Well,
ideological schools within the African American collective.
Not here, not in Texas.
Exactly.
yeah.
Even
We
Charleston White said that. It was like, the NOI can get us N words.
Mm.
we don't have that. We have the Hebrew Israelite and the Nation of Islam down here in Texas, but they not as big like it is in New York. So I did
Yes.
not know it was two different.
I mean,
I
I'm,
would
I
say
mean, I
cults.
mean, in New York, they're not really that big anymore because nobody really. There's only like a few people you actually see actually donning that actually follows that because everybody else is just trying to live.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Still trying to live a normal life.
The five
Yeah,
percenters too. Show me the 5%ers.
the 5% is that nobody is like they ain't gonna be the one that will be preaching. You just know what they are when they talk when they actually speak. But they could blend in anywhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
They everywhere now.
it's not
Yeah.
the collective. I don't know. I mean, like I say, that's probably like I said in New York. I feel what you're talking about, but not, I don't see that here in Houston because many people do not like. I was talking to a dark skinned brother a day that we was criticizing the Hebrew Israelite, how they're a cult, how they hate other people, how they cuss with the Bible in hand, which is satanic. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
That's very blasphemous. And they, like I told them, I told them, like, the nation is not paid by a clan. They pay by a clan too. You know what I'm saying? I was telling him that some of them are police officers. Now, I ain't gonna lie about that. Remember, I told you somebody I know personally. We were talking about Armando.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I don't mention the person's name, but he told me he showed me a video that, and it was like in Georgia somewhere, and a bunch of brothers of Hebrew Israelites. He said, those half the folks in the Dalton dudes, those marching are police, uncut police. I said, what? So yeah, and I told him a story when I was homeless, and it was a bright skinned dude who was Hebrew Israelite. He was dusty. Dusty dude, and he started calling me out my name, and then time out. That's why I'm homeless because I'm not obeying the Hebrew, and God and His own interpretation. And I told him off, and then they kicked him off of FedEx on Chirac West Town to get that back in line back in 2019. So then. So that I told you I had an issue with the manager that I ain't did it wrong. I mean, it was a mistake that happened, but I had an issue with the manager. They had banned us on the store, and I said, I'll tell the dude that, I'll tell you about it. I said, was that person informant? He said, 9 10 probably was. He probably was had a criminal record, had been in jail, but working with a purpose within the Hebrew Israelite who spy on other people. So, like, let's say you were homeless, they try and spy on people who doing something crime, or they probably, just cause something, and next thing things start to happen. So I said, that's why, yeah. So some people are informants. It's not just them with these ideologies. Some of them have police involved, criminals, looking at people because they do go out and try to recruit people who are homeless, people who've been out of jail, you know what I'm saying? And then they're the main ones, if you do something dirty or they're trying to put something on you and make a lie, they're the main ones trying to do it.
Right. I see what you're saying.
So some of them people are paid by a government foremen, government people, and you gotta watch out who they join. Some of them probably CIA people. You know what I'm saying? So that's why. But yeah, but when it but we don't get there. But these are Moors. I have met people say that they're Moors.
No, 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 no. You want to know something which is funny? They'll talk. You have certain people that that they actually go by certain stuff that they were saying that they have the right to go and squat into people's homes and stuff, and they say, "Yeah, I'm a Moor" and everything like that. There've actually been news articles about that. I said like in one of my last streams.
Radical told us about that. Remember last 2 years ago? I think it
Yeah,
was 2 years ago before me and him fell out. Yeah, yeah. Radical talked about that. One sister came in there, said she was a Moor, and she went to the police were called, and she said she didn't care because she was a Moor. Look at somebody shoot that woman too. I'm serious, and it's like, with God, if you're a Moor or not, you don't break into somebody's house. That's a cult. I'm sorry, that's a cult. There's nowhere in the world that could be you're a Moor.
yeah, I know.
So funny. So that's the whole reason why that I'm saying that that's so stupid. I'm still laughing at that story, even though me and Malcolm are friends, but I'm still laughing about that. But yeah, one of the women that used to come to FedEx from California, she was a witch. She was a homeless. She said she was a Moor. She argued me down. I said, yeah, the Moors were black, but we not no more. Stop saying it. I mean, you can say what you want to say, but I ain't gonna go around claiming to be no dang no more. She claimed to be a Moor, and then I said, "Yeah, we are part indigenous because we're mixed. Most Black American, we're mixed with Black and white and Native." But she said, "No, that's not, the natives were black looking." I said, "No, the natives were not black looking. They look more Asian. They came." I said, "No, the natives that we mixed with came out of Asia. Stop saying it. The natives not a little Africans. We mixed with Africans. You know what I'm saying? All three, but we not. That's like stop saying it." So I'm getting tired of these people. Who I want to do some investigation. Who are all these people making these ideologies? Because it's getting to be a problem. It's getting to be ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? And you trying to like, for example, I
All right.
ignorant and it's getting on my nerves because every time a native Afro indigenous person is, which is part of who I am, down my family tree, we have to tell people the first thing you think we about your wild old people saying that Native Americans are black. You know what I'm saying? And it gets on my doggone nerves because I don't say that. I wouldn't claim to be mixed race and multiracial due to my ancestry if I said that.
I know. Well, I'm about to close up the I'm gonna close up and everything. So, anybody have any last 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 closing statements?
No, not me.
N-
Yeah.
Nah, Mondo, I don't know. I need to ask questions about some things we were talking about.
All right.
Yeah, later on outside the spectrum.
All right.
Okay, all right,
All right. So,
that's it.
got you.
All right, John, I'll message you on WhatsApp. Something, all right? Okay, then.
All right, bro.
All right, look out. Peace.
All right. Peace.
Armando. Adios, manos.
Adios. See you. Well, that's tonight's show. Stay tuned for Historias Urbana. I'm going to make it happen. 1,